In the previous video, we talked about why comparing trading strategies is harder than it looks. We saw that focusing on a single metric doesn't work and that ranking strategies against each other can still lead to bad decisions. This is because ranking only tells you which strategy is better relative to the others and not if a strategy is actually good enough to trade with. So instead of ranking, I introduced a scoring system which is based on multiple scientific research papers. This system evaluates every strategy against absolute standards for risk, profitability, consistency, robustness and other criteria if you want this. It uses fixed anchors, hierarchical scoring and hard deal breakers based on backtest results, and the ultimate goal is to help you determine if a strategy has a chance to make you money in the future. In this video I want to make this more concrete without making use of too much theory but more with examples. For this I will use a Jupyter notebook to show you some actual examples in code, like how the scoring works, how anchors works, how weights are chosen and how you can adapt the system to your own trading style. Now before we look at any examples, I first want to show you the overall structure. One important design choice is that configuration is separated from logic. And that means that anchors, weights, deal breakers and other criteria are defined first in one place and that the scoring logic itself doesn't change. This is intentionally done because by splitting these into two sections it makes the system understandable, transparent, reproducible and also easy to adapt without writing too much code. So let's first start by importing a few basics and then define some simple configurations. First I will open the notebook and then import some necessary modules at the top, otherwise the examples won't run. And then it's time to define the criteria. I'm adding this in a JSON structure here so that it's easy to read and understand. At the top of this JSON structure the anchors are defined. And within these anchors the end results are measured if you remember the last video. Then the weights are defined, and remember also that these weights are very personal and must fit your trading style and risk appetite. Here I determine that Sharp has a weight of 40%, the profits weigh for 30% and the maximum drawdown also weighs for 30%. Now if there are people that give more importance to the maximum drawdown a strategy should have, then the weights should be higher here. You can make this 60% for example, but then you have to dial the other numbers of these other weights back so that these all sum to 1 or 100%. Finally in this section the deal breakers are defined, and in this example I want a strategy's backtest result to have at least 30 trades and experience a maximum drawdown of 50%. Now these deal breakers are defined last, but they actually will be used first. For example, if I have a strategy with less than 30 trades that is on the daily time frame and over the last 3 years worth of data, then I won't even bother to investigate it further, simply because I don't have enough quality data to analyze it. And this saves me time and I can proceed with next trading algorithms to investigate. So after these criteria are defined, let's start with a single strategy, and remember, because this is very important, we're not ranking anything yet, we're just asking one question, and that is if this strategy is good enough on its own. So here is a simplified set of backtest results. This sample strategy has 120 total trades, a Sharp of 1.6, a profit factor of 1.8 and a maximum drawdown of 0.22, in other words 22%. Now the first thing the system has to check are the deal breakers, because if a strategy violates basic safety rules there's no point in scoring it further. In the next function the total trades and the maximum drawdown are measured or compared against the deal breakers. First it checks the total trades, and if this is lower than the deal breaker's minimum trade, then it returns a false status with the message too few trades, indicating that there are too few trades to even make an informed analysis. And then it also checks the measured maximum drawdown from the backtest against the maximum drawdown deal breaker. And if this is higher, then it gives a status false and the message that the drawdown is too high to continue. So if either or both of these are not measuring up against a certain threshold, then further analysis is off and we can proceed testing another strategy. Now luckily for us, in this example the strategy passes the basic safety checks and we can continue to actually score it. The next step is to normalize using fixed anchors. So in this step I have a function that takes the backtest results and puts it into the value parameter. The anchor parameters uses the complete dictionary from the configuration, and in the next line it splits that configuration object into the lower anchor and upper anchor values. And on this line it also discovers if these anchor values are inverse or not in the inverse variable. Now if these anchors are inversed, like in the drawdown for example, then the backtest result score will be calculated with this line, else it uses the normal scoring calculation. With these lines the values distance is measured between the worst and the best acceptable value. And with this line, the values are clipped so that ultimate score stays within the 100% range. Now these clippings will occur if the backtest scores are higher than the defined upper levels. Like for example, if a sharp of 4.5 is calculated, then you know that this is higher than the upper level, which is 3, and should be clipped to stay within the 100% range. The return line here multiplies the score times 100, so eventually every metric gets mapped to a 0 to 100 score. And all these scores are now calculated and directly inserted into a JSON formatted output for further calculations later on. So you see, there's nothing magical happening here, but each metric is just being measured against predefined expectations. Now that we have these scores, we can combine these into a single score, but before we do that, we first have to multiply these with our defined weights. And again, these weights are a reflection of which these performance indicators we value most. So let's take each of these indicator values from the JSON formatted score object and multiply it with the weight that is in the config object, which is also JSON formatted. These calculations are all stored in their own variable, and then we can sum up all of these scores to one total score. And these all result in an end score of 56.05. Now that number is the absolute quality score of the strategy. It is still not compared against anything else, and it's also not influenced by other results. This single number just tells us how well the strategy meets our standards. Now let's make this a little bit more interesting by altering the weights of the performance indicators. I can use two different weighting systems to see if the strategy is fitting a more conservative or aggressive trading approach. I will now add a function to this notebook cell, and that one is reusable, and it calculates the scores with the weights above. So this is the total conservative weights number, and this is the number for the aggressive weights. Now we see that the same strategy with the same raw performance has different end scores, based on the preference of the trader that defines the weights. If you are a conservative trader that does not like too much drawdown, you now directly have an answer to the question if this strategy matches your trading needs. And the conclusion is that this strategy fits a conservative trader pretty well. However, if you are an aggressive trader, then you weigh other factors higher like profit factor. And you now know that this strategy aligns less with aggressive preferences. So relatively speaking, this strategy is better suited for conservative traders than for aggressive ones. And now I hope that you start to understand that different priorities provide different results, and that's exactly the point. The system doesn't optimize for you, but it enforces consistency. And this is also why I like this approach, because it doesn't predict returns and it doesn't promise any edge, but what it does, it just prevents bad decisions. It rejects unsafe strategies early and forces you, and me of course, to define your standards, and gives you a transparent, repeatable way of judging strategy's quality. And if you want to experiment with this, then just start simple. First define your anchors, define your deal breakers, and be honest about what you value. And that alone will already improve how you evaluate trading strategies. Now so far in this example we looked at just one strategy in isolation, and that's intentional because the first question is always if this strategy is acceptable at all. But once multiple strategies pass the same deal breakers, then they can be evaluated with the same anchors and weights, and also we can compare these meaningfully. The key is here that the comparison now happens on equal footing. We use the same rules and we use the same standards and the same priorities. So now let's take a look at another example where I used two different trading strategies backtest results and only one set of weights that was defined earlier. With these results at first glance, these strategies backtest outcomes look very different. One has better risk-adjusted returns and the other one is more profitable but more riskier. And this is exactly the kind of situation where people got stuck, because based on these outcomes they cannot determine which strategy to test out further and eventually use in real trading. So instead of guessing, we score them. And again, we will use the function that uses the strategy's outcomes as parameter input and the configuration as the second input. And by using both the strategy's backtest results and the config from earlier, we can make a comparison between these two strategies. And now I hope that this is the moment where things become very clear. Because both strategies pass the same deal breakers, which tell that they meet our initial standards of at least 30 samples in the backtest and less than 50% drawdown, and they both were evaluated using the same anchors and the same weights, so the comparison is fair. In this example, strategy A scored higher overall, not because it dominated every metric, but because it better matched our trading priorities. We can also dive a little bit deeper and look at the component level scores. And this table is also just as important as the final score, because it shows you why strategy A scored higher than the other. In this example, Sharp Ratio and Drawdown scored both very high, and adding these up made it score higher overall, and to better match the preferred trading style of the trader. So it was not by cherry picking some metrics, not by ranking some raw numbers, but by applying the same standards consistently. And once you do that, the comparison becomes less emotional and much more disciplined. Now, the nice part about the Jupyter notebook is that I can also visualize the true strategies I just scored. This is called a spider or radar plot, I think. So let's copy and paste these codes in these cells. And never mind the code itself, because you can download the notebook from my Patreon site. What's more important is that this chart's visualization tells you something very important at a glance. You can immediately see why strategy A is strong and where strategy B is strong, and where each one compromises. Now, you also have to understand that there's no perfect shape, because there never is, but know that what matters is which shape matches your priorities. And because both strategies pass the same deal breakers, use the same anchors and use the same weights, this comparison is fair, meaningful and actionable. And this is what the structured decision making looks like in practice. Now, there is one final layer I'd like to add on top of this numeric score, and that is grading. Now, grading doesn't change the math, but it's simply a way to make decisions faster and more consistent. And the idea is very simple. We define score ranges and map them to familiar grades. For example, scores above 85 might be A+, scores in the high 70s and low 80s become A or A-. In the 60s they fall into the B range, and lower scores drop into C or D. And anything that fails a deal breaker is clearly marked and rejected with an F. The most important part that you have to be aware of is that the grade is derived from the score and not the other way around. So when a strategy gets an A, it means that it met your standards across multiple dimensions. And not that it's perfect or that it will keep its edge forever, but that it is good enough to be considered seriously for further investigation and testing. Now let's apply the scoring system to the two strategies with a simple function that I have here. And notice what it does. It doesn't remove nuances, because you still have the numeric score, the breakdown and the visualization, but the grade gives you a clear human readable summary. Strategy A has a grade C, while strategy B has scored a D. And now when you're reviewing many strategies like I do, then this matters a lot, because it reduces decision fatigue and prevents overthinking. It helps to stay consistent and keep things simple, but realize that grades are just the final label on a process that's already transparent and defensible. So now that we are nearing the end of the video, let's quickly recap what we did here, because in the end we still made a lot of progress and did a lot of theory. We started by taking the scoring system from the previous video and actually used it in practice. We scored a single strategy in isolation to answer the most important first question, which is this strategy acceptable at all? And then we compared two strategies with the same deal breakers, the same anchors and the same weights, so the comparison was meaningful and fair. And then we visualized the trade-offs, so we could see where each strategy is strong and where it compromises. And finally, we translated the scores into simple grades to make decisions faster and more consistent. Now, the key idea behind these two videos I made about this subject is that in the end you trade strategies that are good enough, robust enough and safe enough according to your own rules and preferences. But remember that this system doesn't predict the future and it doesn't promise an edge. But what it does promise is to prevent bad decisions and forces clarity where most traders rely on gut feelings. And this is where you have an edge over 99% of all other traders out there. Now, if you like what I do, then click like and subscribe to the channel, and please give me a comment if you actually are using this system and how you like it. Thanks for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye!